Texas trooper medals in bench press event at international powerlifting competition. Scientists reveal how to spot signs of dementia 9 years before diagnosis. DeSantis ally warns against donating to Ready for Ron as PAC plans to spend $3.3 million on ads. Crypto lender Genesis files for bankruptcy as crisis spreads. Russia-Ukraine war, list of key events, day 331.
This is breaking news.
I'm Erin Burnett in Washington.
Texas trooper medals in bench press event at international powerlifting competition. Texas DPS Highway Patrol Trooper Tim Matthews bench pressed 551.5 pounds, a personal best, at the International Powerlifting Meet in Las Vegas. Most people have heard the phrase "everything is bigger in Texas," but many may not have realized that includes Texas Department of Public Safety Trooper Tim Matthews. On Facebook Thursday, the North Texas region of Texas DPS announced Matthews, a highway patrol officer in Texarkana, recently medaled in an international powerlifting competition. Matthews traveled to Las Vegas in mid-December to compete in the International Powerlifting League Olympia Pro Powerlifting Meet. His bench press of 551.5 pounds, which he said was a personal best, earned him second place in the men's super heavyweight class. His dedication to physical fitness and a healthy lifestyle helps to set an example that promotes the Texas Department of Public Safety's mission, the agency wrote. Matthews' accomplishment was met with many congratulatory comments on the post and a couple of funny remarks related to his strength. Congratulations! We need a roadside arm wrestle challenge. If violator wins, then no ticket. I think Trooper Matthews would be leading the stats for most citations, one commenter suggested. Another wrote, I pity the fool that wants to wrestle on a traffic stop. Shouldn't he be employed in the NFL? I would have my driver's license and vehicle tags already ran and returned from dispatch to hand over before he got to my window. Matthews shared the agency's post to his personal Facebook page, adding, thankful for the love shown and extremely thankful to be a part of this awesome agency. The officer also shared a few additional 2022 accomplishments in an earlier post, which included overall bench winner at the United States Powerlifting Association DT Nationals. Scientists reveal how to spot signs of dementia 9 years before diagnosis. It could be possible to spot signs of dementia up to 9 years before diagnosis, a new study has found. The findings, published in Alzheimer's and Dementia, the Journal of the Alzheimer's Association, mean that future at-risk patients could be screened to help identify those who might benefit from early interventions to reduce their risk of developing dementia-related diseases. They could also help select those suitable for clinical trials for new treatments. When we looked back at patients' histories, it became clear that they were showing some cognitive impairment several years before their symptoms became obvious enough to prompt a diagnosis, study author Nal Swadhiwadhyping, a junior doctor at the University of Cambridge, said. The impairments were often subtle, but across a number of aspects of cognition. This is a step towards us being able to screen people who are at greatest risk, for example, people over 50 or those who have high blood pressure or do not do enough exercise, and intervene at an earlier stage to help them reduce their risk. For the study, researchers analyzed data from the UK Biobank database and pinpointed problem-solving and number recall as two of the early signs patients could develop dementia. Senior author Dr. Tim Rittman, also from the University of Cambridge, said, people should not be unduly worried if, for example, they are not good at recalling numbers. Even some healthy individuals will naturally score better or worse than their peers. But we would encourage anyone who has any concerns or notices that their memory or recall is getting worse to speak to their GP. People from the UK Biobank data who went on to develop Alzheimer's scored more poorly compared with healthy individuals when it came to problem-solving tasks, reaction times, remembering lists of numbers, perspective memory, our ability to remember to do something later on, and pair matching. This was also the case for people who developed a rarer form of dementia known as frontotemporal dementia, the researchers found. According to the study, people who went on to develop Alzheimer's were more likely than healthy adults to have had a fall in the previous 12 months. David Thomas, head of policy at Alzheimer's Research UK, said, "It is increasingly clear that the best chance to affect the course of the diseases which cause dementia lies in intervening at their earliest stages. Health services don't routinely offer the tests needed to detect changes in brain function that happen before symptoms are noticeable, like those alluded to in this study. In fact, the NHS is currently unable to guarantee early and accurate diagnosis for people living with dementia. More than a third of people over 65 living with dementia go undiagnosed." He added, "It's now more important than ever that NHS services reflect our growing understanding of the importance of detection and early diagnosis. We must ensure that people with dementia don't fall through the cracks at a time when treatment or risk reduction interventions are most likely to be effective." Additional reporting by PA. From news to politics, travel to sport, culture to climate, The Independent has a host of free newsletters to suit your interests. To find the stories you want to read, and more, in your inbox, click here. DeSantis ally warns against donating to Ready for Ron as PAC plans to spend $3.3 million on ads. Ready for Ron PAC says it's working to convince Florida's popular GOP governor to launch a presidential campaign. A political action committee known as Ready for Ron said Thursday it plans to spend more than $3 million in the coming months to boost Governor Ron DeSantis' already prominent national profile and organize a grassroots campaign should the Florida Republican launch a bid for the 2024 GOP presidential nomination. But DeSantis, who in November was overwhelmingly re-elected and is focused on Florida's legislative session as his second term gets underway, has nothing to do with this PAC. And his political team is pointing to a memo from last summer that said contributions to the non-affiliated PAC do not benefit Governor DeSantis or his re-election. A source close to the governor's political operation told Fox News this doesn't help Ron DeSantis. "It's a grift, plain and simple." The memo from DeSantis' team highlighted that the committee is apparently engaging in an aggressive media campaign to promote itself, running political ads, and actively soliciting contributions from supporters of Governor DeSantis. In reality, the PAC is actively taking financial resources away from Governor DeSantis and his re-election efforts. While possibly well-intentioned, these types of organizations tend to cannibalize support that would normally be offered to the candidate directly, DeSantis' 2022 re-election campaign legal counsel Benjamin Gibson argued in the memo. Ready for Ron formed in May and includes veteran Republican consultant Ed Rollins as its chief strategist. On Thursday, it filed paperwork with the Federal Election Commission disclosing that it intends to spend $3.3 million over the next 6 months on a national TV ad campaign and on phone, mail, and digital promotions. The governor, a former congressman, saw his popularity soar among conservatives across the country the past 3 years, courtesy of his forceful pushback against coronavirus pandemic restrictions and his aggressive actions as a conservative culture warrior going after media and corporations. DeSantis for over a year routinely dismissed talk of a 2024 White House race as he focused on his gubernatorial re-election. But he's dropped some hints the past 2 months of a possible presidential bid, starting with his re-election victory speech in November. The governor, who has rivaled and even eclipsed former President Donald Trump in some 2024 polling, has already pushed legislation in the opening days of his second term that is popular with conservatives in Florida and nationwide. And, as Fox News first reported, he's got a memoir, The Courage to Be Free, Florida's Blueprint for America's Revival, publishing next month. Writing a book is a rite of passage for many potential and actual presidential candidates. I don't think he's going to pay attention to federal politics until after the legislative session is over. But other potential candidates are organizing now. There's a window of time here where things have to get done, Dan Backer, a lawyer and counsel to Ready for Ron, told Fox News. We're putting out our messaging that President Biden is the problem and Ron is the best solution out there, Backer said. He added that his group is building a large grassroots infrastructure to help nominate and elect him. We're putting out the message and building the grassroots that he'll need when we are successful at convincing him to run. But Backer, asked about the 2022 memo, said that the committee didn't spend a single penny trying to re-elect him as governor because we weren't interested in doing that and he didn't need the help. The polls were clear. Everything we're doing is focused on building this infrastructure for him to run for president. Political committees, such as Ready for Ron, are prohibited under long-standing federal rules from either coordinating or contributing directly to a candidate or his or her campaign. The group is one of 2 non-affiliated committees urging DeSantis to run for president, along with a super PAC named Ron to the Rescue.